The soldiers would stay clear of the battlefield as Kazuya and Saji would size each other up. For Kazuya, he wasn't worried when it came to the statistics of it all. When it came to their age, size, experience, he knew that he had the boy beat in all of those categories. What really concerned him were the tricks. You might be wondering, how exactly had Kazuya gotten on the trail of learning about devils? How had he learned of their existence in this world? Well, the answer really wasn't all that complicated. The simple fact is that he knew because he existed. Sure, there was probably the chance that he was the only one in the world born with the devil gene, that he was the only one gifted with such powers. But when you really evaluate the world and the people in it, you start to realize that there are other strange phenomena, cases that can't be explained, things that under normal circumstance you brush off because they appear to be nothing. But when you take a closer look, they turn out to be everything. And for Kuo Academy, that seemed to be the source. It took a long time concentrating and meditating his power, but he treated his power like a magnet. If he could feel it out, then maybe, just maybe, he could find others. For Kazuya, it was a matter of reverse engineering his own sense of power, of trying to see if he could turn himself into a sort of radar. Any sort of frequency of picking up devil-like energy, even if it wasn't exactly the same, it had to be similar enough in nature. And once he had figured out how to do it, he cast a large net, and sure enough, snuggled up in this town were a nestling of devils. But as they appeared to look closer, it seemed like anyone of potential promise were unavailable. But the one that stood out from all of them was Saji. Of course, Kazuya figured that if more potential subjects came out, he could get his hands on them. But now, he was content to start with one. For Saji, he couldn't believe that the cover had been blown on them. Of course, it wasn't lost on them about the world that they lived in, or about the powerful fighters and other things of that nature. But still, what were the odds that Kazuya Mishima, of all people, would be showing up in your part of town, looking for you specifically? And he wasn't going to be taking no for an answer. Saji would ready himself as Kazuya would approach. He immediately entered into his balance breaker as he summoned his sacred gear, Veritura, the sacred dragon, the absorbing dragon, one of the 5 noble dragons. The black-like serpent, the gauntlet that would appear on his wrist. Saji would back away to create space, as Kazuya would grin. "You recognize my power, boy. That's good. You know that you're outmatched. But tell me, how long do you intend to run?" "Who says anything about running? I'm just trying to come up with a strategy." "And tell me, have you come up with a suitable one yet?" "Yeah, how's this?" Saji would say as he pointed the gauntlet towards Kazuya. The gauntlet that was shaped like that of the black serpent that opened its mouth, shooting its long absorbing tongue towards him. Kazuya would merely flick away at the tongue that shot at him, only for it to wrap around at his wrists. "I see. So your power is in that gauntlet. I take it that you fight with some sort of whip or some binding chain, but there's probably more to it than that. I figure that you're not someone who's overly powerful. At least you don't project it. But then again, you are a child, Kazuya would say. But rather than break away from the absorbing line, he allowed it to stay. I don't want you to feel too bad about this. After all, you are out of your league. So in the end, it's only right that I give you a fighting chance. I should allow you to come at me with everything you've got. So don't hold back on my account. I know that you don't have the true power to bring me down, Kazuya said, as he walked closer to Saji, fear beginning to set in on his face. Yes, that's the look. You know that this little trinket won't do you any good, but yet you cling to it for dear life. You don't have any friends that are coming to save you. You should know I don't mean you any harm. I just wish to know the truth about my power, your power. You and I are both devil alike, but yet we come from different sources. You know more about this world than I do, so explain it to me. Show me the true power of a devil. Saji was beginning to breathe heavily as he hyperventilated. The aura that Kazuya was shooting off of him, his presence, it was suffocating. It felt like he was going to die in that very moment. He felt like he was in the sight of what true power was. He didn't know what to do. Saji just fell to his knees. Look, just don't hurt anyone, okay? I don't want any trouble. But I don't want to betray my family. No harm will come to your family, boy. You tell me everything that I want to know. You leave out nothing. And I promise you will remain intact. All right then, I'll tell you. I'll tell you that you're a damn fool. Promotion to Rook! Saji held up the promotion pass. Immediately, the spell circle would activate as the promotion powers of the Rook would beseed upon him. His defensive and strength capabilities had been increased tenfold as he landed an uppercut directly to Kazuya. Kazuya had to admit, that actually stung. The boy's power had increased, and so too had his confidence. Gone was the face of cowardice, and now what was present, the face of someone who thought he could win. So, he decided to pull a bait and switch, Kazuya thought. At least he's not too spineless of a coward. This should be entertaining. However, if Kazuya thought that that was the only trick that he had, he was surely mistaken. As Saji would activate the power of the absorption line, taking away any and all power that Kazuya had to his name, causing him to fall to one knee. Yeah, stings, doesn't it? That's the power of my sacred gear. The power of the black absorbing dragon Veritura. I can absorb anyone's power and redistribute it any way I like. How's that for information? Unfortunately, I'm not fighting with any allies, so I think I'll be taking it for myself, Saji said, kicking at Kazuya while he was down. The soldiers were ready themselves, but Saji was prepared as he fired the black flames of Veritura at the guards, burning away at their guns and shooting them all back. You made a big mistake coming here. And you made an even bigger mistake trying to underestimate me. What? You thought that I was easy pickings? You think that I was gonna go down like that? Who the hell do you think I am? I am the loyal servant of Lady Sona Seatree of the House of Seatree. In this territory, she has entrusted in my name. I'll be damned if I'm going down to the likes of you. You think you can handle me? Nah, you're out of your league. You don't know what a devil truly is, but I'm gonna show you. Now, promotion tonight! Saji's plans were to overwhelm Kazuya. First with the power of the Rook, overwhelming strength. Then the power of the Knight, overwhelming speed. He would launch in a barrage of punches, keeping the absorbing line to Kazuya, zapping away at his power, keeping him in a weakened state. Of course, Saji had no qualms of knowing who the better fighter was. Make no mistake about it. If this were just about pure martial arts skill or prowess, Kazuya would whoop his ass 10 times out of 10. No, 1,000 times out of 10. But right now, that didn't really matter. It didn't matter how powerful Kazuya was if he was weakened, zapped of most of his strength, and left lying on the ground. And for Saji, all he had to do was overwhelm him with force. Enough force to beat him into submission. Of course, he wasn't really sure what he was going to do after that. I mean, did he want to kill him? I mean, if it came to it, maybe. But even then, he wasn't entirely sure. He hadn't thought that far ahead. However, Kazuya wasn't one to give up. Once he had gotten his bearings about him and gotten back to his feet, although staggered, he would immediately counter Saji's punch as he broke away at Saji's wrist, snapping it and causing the boy to scream. He would then break away from the absorbing line as he launched a flurry of combos towards Saji, knocking him into a tree. Not bad, kid. All things considered, you're a pretty good strategist. You got me to let my guard down, and I got careless. I shouldn't have underestimated you just because you were a child. In the end, you're still a devil and a freak of nature, just like I am. Well, I promise you I won't be making that same mistake again. And now, you're going to feel the true might of the Mishima bloodline. The beating that Kazuya would give Saji would be absolute and brutal. For Saji, he had been in a lot of fights and he had seen a lot of things. He still remembered when he and his friends fought against the demon Blackheart along with the Deadites. He still remembered all the other countless struggles that he had gone through along with Sona and the others. And even in those situations, surprisingly enough, he had never taken an ass whooping as thorough as this. And for Kazuya, well, this just felt like child abuse. But the boy had to learn one way or another. In the end, special powers didn't make you all so special. When it came down to it, Saji was left in a bloodied and beaten state. And he knew that if this continued on any further, it was going to be the end of him. As Kazuya raced to finish him off, he would pull a summoning circle out of his pocket, activating it as he pulled himself away. As he disappeared, Kazuya would smirk. He was prepared for this. He figured the boy had to have some disappearing act as well. But thankfully, they scouted ahead of time. And they already had plans on arriving to Saji's home. In the meantime, Ling was racing, calling out to anyone who would help. Of course, she knew that she might just have to turn back and go and help him herself, even if she knew she wouldn't stand much of a chance. But before she could, she would be stopped by a police car that was driving by. In it was Lieutenant Lee Woo-Long, along with Steve Fox, who was accompanying him. The girl would report what was happening, and of course, you can imagine their surprise that of all places and of all times, Kazuya Mishima would arrive in this place, and he was attacking a high schooler? Well, now, by the time they had returned, they saw G-Corp soldiers lying on the ground. Lee would call for backup for their arrest, but now they had even bigger concerns. "This isn't good. Where's Saji?" Ling would say. "Your friend, he's not here?" "No." "And neither's Kazuya. He's probably chased after the boy. We need to find out where he is." "Do you think he'd gone home?" Steve would ask. "That's a possibility. And if so, we need to get to him as soon as possible. There's no telling what Kazuya's capable of. But why would he be after the kid?" "You know it can't be for a good reason," Steve would say. "And it can't be for an ordinary reason either." They knew that this was far from some random incident. And for something like this to occur, the situation was only getting from bad to worse. They would have to phone in to Detective Kirika Tachibana about what was going on. And for Kirika, she was at her wit's end. For one, not only had Lee Woo-Long gone off the reservation and had gotten someone who wasn't supposed to be involved, like Steve Fox, into the mess, but Steve had inadvertently caused the destruction of Mishima Zaibatsu property. Now, the only thing that was stopping them from seeking retribution was the fact that Steve technically had diplomatic immunity, since he had ties back to the UK. However, Lee did not, and Kirika was pissed, as she called all of them back to her office. And safe to say, the detective was not pleased. "So you just decided to go off the reservation, huh? So what? You're just going to be playing off the book now?" Kirika said to Lee. "I didn't think that he would go that far." "I told you I was going to do whatever." "Zip it, Fox," Kirika would say. "I don't care what you think you're going to do, but right now you are in my country and you are in my jurisdiction, and you are damn well not going to make so much as a cough without my say-so. You blew up a testing facility for the Mishima Zaibatsu. Never mind what you found down there. Look, you don't think that I don't know that they're doing some messed up shit? Of course I do. That's why we are trying to investigate them. But you go high off the hill with some costume vigilante doing whatever you want to do, and you jeopardize all of that. We are not the government. We are nothing but a detective task force. A task force that's barely even recognized. Hell, technically speaking, my task force doesn't even exist. At any moment, they can decide to pull the plug, and all of this goes away." "Seriously, Tachibana?" Lee said. "You act like any of this is ordinary. The Mishima Zaibatsu are dirty, and you know it. And besides, you act like you don't have friends in high places. If you wanted to, you could call on a whole army and wipe them out. That's not my role," Kirika said. "Yes, I know some powerful people. But do you think that I just have them on speed dial? You think that they'll just do anything I say at my beck and call? There is bureaucracy. There's order. Things have to be done in a manner. They don't just come and call just because I snap my fingers. That's not how this works. And even if it did, we are not soldiers." Kiriko was at her wit's end. The Mishima Zaibatsu, headed by Heihachi Mishima, they were dirty and she knew it. Between illegal experimentation, between weapons, drugs, all sorts of things, you name it. They had been trying to bust them for years, but it's a lot harder to do when you have the protection of the Japanese government. When you have them in your back pocket, well, it makes almost everything null and void. Trying to get so much as a search warrant becomes like pulling teeth. All of a sudden, no one can file paperwork. Things get lost in the crack. And before you know it, you're being shipped off to some lowly desk job in the middle of nowhere simply because they'd rather scoot you away than have you digging into places where you don't belong. On top of the paranormal to the supernatural, Kiriko was just at her wit's end. From man to monster, sometimes she wondered which one was worse. But right now, they had more pressing matters to deal with. Something that was at least tangible. Kazuya Mishima was on the loose, and he was causing real trouble. If he truly was attacking Saji and being an aggravator of assault, and that was something they could get him on, but they had to get to Saji and quick. Unknowns to them, though, word had a way of traveling. And for Jin, once he learned of the pressing matter, he quickly set himself out into the night. As Ling, Lee, and Steve would make their way to Saji's residence. As for Saji, he had used the teleportation spell circle to arrive to his home, where his younger brother and sister would be waiting. Kaho, his middle sister, and Genjo, his younger brother, were sitting at the table doing homework and preparing to have a snack when the door would open. They saw their bloodied and beaten brother and were horrified. "Saji," Kaho would ask. "Big brother." "Guys, you need to get out of here. Go." "What? Get out of here. Look, it's not safe." "What's going on? Who did this to you?" "That's not the point. You need to get out of here." "But get out." Saji would reach into the closet. He was always prepared for a day like this. Ever since the day that they lost their parents, the day that they lost their grandfather, even for all the help that Sona had given them, in the back of Saji's mind, above all else, taking care of the only family he had left, that is what truly mattered to him. He always kept a duffel bag with the money that he saved from the jobs that he had done, with enough supplies and support to take care of themselves. He gave it to Kaho as he quickly got them dressed. "Listen, I need you to take this, and I need you to run, okay? You don't stop. You don't say anything. You just run. You keep running, and you go to the safety spot I told you about. But what are you gonna? I'll catch up with you soon enough. Just go, okay? You don't stop for anyone else. Unless there's Sona, or unless there's someone that you know that I told you to trust, all right?" "You mean like those people from the clubhouse?" "Yeah, like them. If they get into contact with you, you do as they say, all right? Come here. I love you guys. I love you both so much. And I promise, everything is going to be okay." "Saji, I'm scared." "It's going to be fine, okay? You run. You don't stop. You don't look back. You run, okay? Now go." Immediately, the two would hurry out of their small townhouse. They had made it just 4 blocks down the road by the time Kazuya had arrived. He noticed them walking past. Now, He could have been cruel. He could have dragged him back. He could have played the bad guy role even further, but no need. If Saji was going this far to get him into a one-on-one situation, it was obvious that he was desperate. A desperate man is a dangerous one, but he respected that. He approached the door and knocked casually. Hello, 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 Saji. You think you can come out to play? Now, I hope you're not reeling too bad. We were just getting started. You know, I saw your sweet little brother and sister leaving here. I could have my people tail them. If you go anywhere near them, I swear you're gonna what? You know, if there's one thing my father taught me, and believe me, I hate that bastard with a burning passion, but I agree with him on this. The weak do not get to dictate anything to the strong. You are in no position to give me any orders, boy. Now, I gave you a chance. You chose to play this the hard way. And I entertained your little rebellion, but this stops now. You will come with me, or I will beat you. I will beat you so badly you will wish you were dead. But I'm not going to kill you. Not yet. You're going to tell me everything I want. And then I'm going to have them tear you apart piece by piece. I'm going to watch you die slowly on an operating table like the little guinea pig that you are, Kazuya said as he grabbed him by the head and slammed him through the table. I will learn everything about you from head to toe. I will not be denied, boy. As Jin was making his way to the home of Saji, before he had a chance to get any closer, he was stopped in midair, tackled to the ground. You're a hard man to find. Jin recognized that voice. Brian Fury. So you know me. But I've gone through a bit of a career change these days. I think I prefer the gladiator. I don't have time for this, Jin said. Well, quite frankly, I don't give a damn. Right now, it's 1:30 time to whoop your ass. And I'm getting paid, not by the hour. So you better make time. There are some people that want to see you. Heihachi Mishima. Yeah, I'll get to him later. No, that's not gonna work. You see, when I get paid, the job's as good as done. That's a guarantee. A Brian guarantee. So, what's it gonna be? You gonna come quietly, or do I have to knock you out and make you look uglier than you already do? Although, if you're walking around dressed like that, I can't imagine what you look like under the mask. I could say the same to you. Bitch, I'm gorgeous. But when I'm done with you, you won't be. As Jin would prepare to fight, he saw something flying in the sky up above over him. Something moving quite quickly, and what appeared to be a man with 4 wings, an armored warrior. It had been some time, but he recognized it. He called him, Jin thought. But why now? Meanwhile, at the home of Saji, the door would open, with the battered and beaten boy slung over the shoulders of Kazuya. He was preparing to call for an escort when suddenly the boy was taken from him. He had been flown more than 20 feet away and lying on the ground, coughing up blood and trying to take in what little oxygen he could. An armored warrior with 4 wings protruding from his back would shield the boy as he laid his hands over him. Rest now, my child. I know that I cannot comfort you with my power. You and I come from 2 different walks of life. But even for a devil, I sense a noble and righteous spirit within you. I promise with God as my witness, you will not fall into death's embrace on this day, and you will live to see the sun rise again. And just who the hell are you? I am the warrior that has been reborn. The one chosen by God, whose blade feeds on the souls of the unrighteous. I am his chosen soldier, one who has waited for this day for a long, long time. Kazuya Mishima. You are truly a devil, a despicable and dishonorable man, wicked and vile. Treachery, that is your way. Save me with the spiel of self-righteousness. Who the hell are you? You don't remember me. Perhaps you remember my master, the one who you crippled. It's you, Kazuya said with a grin. You are his disciple. So, the failure of the master now comes to face me. So tell me, what will be different now? I am the angel of the Manji clan, whose sword strikes with the purity of justice, and who feeds on the soul of evil. You will answer to me, Kazuya Mishima, the angel Yoshimitsu, and by my blade, I will claim your life, devil. I have heard those words 1,000 times, but today, they change nothing. You will fall, just like the rest. We'll see about that. This concludes Tekken Born Again. What if Jin Kazama was Daredevil? Season 1, Part 6. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. And stay tuned tomorrow as we continue with Tekken Born Again. What if Jin Kazama was Daredevil? Season 1, Part 7. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.